Over Labor Day weekend, I stumbled onto what seemed like a fairly standard art community drama, featuring flimsy accusations of racism and call-out posts authored by the terminally online and criminally humorless. You know, the usual. Well, as the week progressed, things spiraled into claims of serial catfishing, the grooming of minors, and a web of lies nearly a decade in the making. I'm of course talking about the recent controversy swirling around VanKraut. For those not in the know, VanKraut is an undeniably talented German Twitter artist with just over 60,000 followers. Her work spans many topics, with historical fiction being a common through line. However, she's perhaps best known for her contributions to the Fallout fandom. Apparently, in their rise to micro-niche internet celebrity status, Kraut has accumulated a lot of haters, as people were quick to pounce when she posted this rather twinkish illustration of a 17th century British man. Perhaps unsurprisingly, a few people on Twitter found this to be very racist, quickly pointing out the problematic nature of sexualizing or speaking positively of a class of men most associated with British imperialism and colonization. I can't help but wonder if any of these people have seen Interview with a Vampire. Brad Pitt is very sexualized in that movie, and he's literally a plantation owner. It's a massive plot point like 20 minutes into the movie. Anyways, people took this as an opportunity to retread some of Kraut's old drama, which includes creating fan art of famed Nazi scientist Joseph Mengele, sexualizing Donkey Kong, and loosely cosplaying as the N-word Burger King man.
I can say anytime I want!
They also apparently typed the N-word in DMs at some point. Eventually, the pressure of these call-out posts became too much, and VanKraut privated, then deleted their Twitter after issuing a formal apology. I will say I found VanKraut's apology/explanation to be pretty lame and disingenuous. They lean on their poor English skills and autism pretty hard and feign ignorance about things that are obviously too based to not know about. The situation was obviously bull from the start, and I don't think it was wise to issue apology in general. It obviously has done nothing to satiate those looking to cancel her and has only provided new vectors of attack. Regardless, that was the state of the drama as of Labor Day weekend. I had actually drafted a script and began editing a YouTube short covering the kerfuffle. Unfortunately, I was forced to scrap all that work when new, much darker allegations came to light. Just as the drama seemed to be dying down, someone from VanKraut's distant past emerged to levy allegations of avowed Nazism, child grooming, and CSAM consumption. Poring over these details, it became clear I would need to cover the subject in a much longer video. Now, I would like to apologize in advance, as the narrative I'm about to present is somewhat confusing. It involves people who give conflicting reports of their age and details events we don't know the exact date of. To make matters worse, the source of this information is a bunch of angry random Twitter people. So in an effort to present the most coherent timeline I was able to glean and cut through a lot of the bullshit, we're going to start at what I feel is the bedrock of these allegations: a seemingly unrelated call-out post by Tumblr user Penis G. In this post, Penis G outlines their interactions with a man named Mark Van Robinson, who they met through the Red Dead Redemption 2 fandom. Conversations between Mark and G quickly became sexual in tone, the problem being that G was, at the time, 14 years old, and Mark was allegedly 23. Over the course of these conversations, Mark's advances became more aggressive and disturbing in tone, sharing pictures of gore and the minor. Mark also confided in G that they had viewed child material and were an avowed Nazi. After their brief expose, G links to two other Tumblr posts detailing similar allegations of grooming, one of which contains numerous screenshots of Mark engaging in an extremely explicit conversation with a 15-year-old boy. By all accounts, Mark was a prolific groomer in the Red Dead Redemption 2 Tumblr community. For this reason, it's perhaps not surprising that they are coincidentally connected to the subject of our video and fellow Red Dead enthusiast, VanKraut, who claims to have been groomed by Mark between the years of 2014 and 2017, when they were just 13 years old. Now, things are about to get very confusing. Just as the British imperialist drama was beginning to die down, a former friend of VanKraut's named Christina, who goes by AntVroArt on Twitter, emerged to deliver a bizarre allegation. She suggested that Kraut, real name Vanessa, was never groomed, and is in fact the person behind the Mark Van Robinson account. Meaning that Kraut was a girl pretending to be an older guy so that she could groom younger girls and guys. Kinda hard to follow, I know. Now, while these allegations seem weird and very implausible on their face, VanKraut provided some very compelling evidence. Having known them since 2017, VanKraut was able to prove that Vanessa had at one point gone by the name Mark online, a name apparently lifted from the Walking Dead fandom. Even more compelling, she pointed to these similarities in signatures used in art posted by VanKraut and Mark over the years. Kraut eventually responded to these allegations on Reddit, claiming that Mark Van Robinson frequently posted her art as his own. She also provided photos of a German police report that both confirmed her age and proved that she spoke to local authorities about Mark's behavior back in 2017. In addition, she poked holes in elements of VanKraut's story, providing screenshots that proved that Christina had misrepresented her age. Some people have called into question the authenticity of the police report, and unfortunately, I can't speak on that. I don't know German, and I don't know what a German police report from almost 10 years ago is supposed to look like. However, I personally believe that Kraut's explanation provides enough to create reasonable doubt of Christina's narrative. This is, after all, a very complex he said, she said situation, involving somewhat anonymous people from entirely different countries. And the strongest piece of evidence is that two people in this scenario happen to share the very common Christian name, Mark. To suggest Kraut was pretending to be an adult man in order to engage in sexual conversations with other minors is an extraordinary claim. And unfortunately, the evidence provided falls short of proving beyond a reasonable doubt. Regardless, even if what Christina alleges is true and Kraut was catfishing multiple people on Tumblr, she would have been a minor at the time. Is pretending to be a 25-year-old German man in order to talk to other kids weird? Yes. But unfortunately, being an autistic femcel on Tumblr isn't a crime, and probably not something you should be canceled for 6 years later. Now, this was a very difficult script to write. As I stated earlier, this situation is very confusing and doesn't necessarily have a satisfying conclusion. If the darker elements of the story are true, then this is likely a situation better handled by the police than an angry mob of former Tumblr users. This whole thing kind of reminds me of the end of the Coen brothers' Burn After Reading. A lot of stuff has happened, but nothing really makes sense and nothing was learned. I also find it unfortunate that VanKraut deleted their Twitter, as I think they're an extremely talented artist and they probably could have posted through the situation and been fine. On the off chance that this video makes its way to Kraut, I would love the opportunity to conduct an interview in an effort to get a better understanding of what exactly happened here and flesh out the narrative.